Alright guys, how's it going? Welcome back. Well, today it's very cold and frosty, so what do you think any car dealer with half a brain would go out and buy? A four-wheel drive? An all-wheel drive car perhaps? That'd be too easy, wouldn't it? No, what I've done instead is I've gone out and bought an Italian convertible, a sporty little cabriolet. No flies on me, no divvies around here mush. I'm actually quite excited about these cars because I've never owned one. What I've bought is a 2018 Fiat, well it's not a Fiat, well it kind of is a Fiat. It's an Abarth 595 cabriolet. So it's basically a Fiat 500 with an attitude. It's basically a Fiat 500 that somebody shoved a firework right up its exhaust. That's what this is, and I'm excited to drive it. I've seen lots of them on the road, and they always seem like good fun. They always make lots of pops and bangs and stuff. They just seem really aggressive and fiery, like a little Jack Russell Terrier. Anyway, I've paid £7,800 for this car, and it's been described to me as being mint. So I'm thinking, well, I'm hoping this could be a £10,000 car on the forecourt. So I'm expecting to have to service it, MOT it, give it a good clean, and hopefully there's a decent profit margin here, even if there is some frost on the ground. I should point out I haven't actually seen this car yet, so let's go and have a look. Right, I'll see you there. Well, we're here, and I'm really excited about this. That's a great looking little car. I love the fact that it's a convertible as well, actually, even though it's frosty outside, as we've established. It's a good colour. It's almost like a dark orange rather than a red, actually. I like that. I like that very much. It's a late 2018 68 reg. It even looks very clean. There doesn't look like there's a great deal to do to that. It's unusual, isn't it? It's obviously the post-17 facelift model, so you've got slightly different headlamps, slightly different tail lights. My car doesn't know whether it wants to be on or off. Right, as always then, we're going to check it out using Car Vertical. Now it's really important that you do one of these checks before you hand over any cash for a used car or motorbike. It's very easy to use. All you do is go to carvertical.com, type in the vehicle reg or the VIN. Now in this case we know that it is Bravo X-Ray 68 Neo. As in so sick fame and let me love you fame. Check vehicle right. It's currently checking millions of cars across dozens of countries' databases. If you want to save yourself 10% off each and every check that you do, use the promo code HIGHPEAK for 10% off. This will tell us a bit more about the car, whether it's been stolen, written off, had a mileage rollback, or has outstanding finance on it. It'll also tell us the MOT history, the number of owners, the ownership change date, all that sort of stuff. And it's all ready. So, view report. That is a 2018 Fiat 500 petrol. It's never been clocked. There's no outstanding finance. There's no recorded damage. That's all good. Never been stolen. Now, I was told it'd done around 30,000 miles, and in March last year, it done 30,496. And it'd only done 1,000 miles the year before. When it was 3 years old, it'd done 25. Someone's had some fun in this, haven't they? The average market price for such a vehicle is $9,500, with the highest price being $10,500. I was hoping that this was going to be a £10,000 car, so I think we're still on track for that. It's a manual, and down here we've also got the equipment as well. So it's a Euro 6. The handbook is in the English language. That's handy, isn't it? Let's go down to the MOT history then. So the ownership changed in 21. It was inspected, then it was on sale, then the ownership changed again in April 23. Right, so the current MOT then runs until March this year. So a short MOT, so I do need to MOT it. And the good thing is, of course, there are no advisory items on the last MOT, so this should sail through its MOT. I guess I need to check the history, but I guess it'll need a service, an MOT, a good clean. So I expect here a spend of maybe $350. It'll owe me one or two. And there should be a good, at least £1,500 profit, at least. Hopefully a tad more. Let's go and have a look around it, and more importantly, let's take it out on the road. Okay then. Really regretting not wearing a jacket today. How good looking is that? Looks really cool, doesn't it? We've got two keys, one remote flip key even, and the original blade key. So we've got twin exhausts, little Larry splitter at the back. It does need a good old clean though. It's obviously been parked under a tree. We've got lots of moss and stuff here. Now of course, because this is a convertible, the roof folds back there. but it does mean that it's not as practical. I mean, a Fiat 500 isn't the most practical car in the world anyway, but you only get this tiny hatch. Let me show you. You're not going to get your golf clubs in there, are you? Whereas at least with the bigger model, you can get, not the bigger model, the regular model, you can get bigger items in there. Have we got decent tyres then? We're on a Pirelli on about 3mm. Brake discs look a little bit worn, but it might be okay. We'll see what my mechanic says. It could do with a bit of a buff, actually. I think, like I say, it's been parked under a tree. It would clean up well. Up front we've got a, this is a new one on me, a Grenlander. Grenlander. You ever heard of that, guys? Nope. Anyway, it's on about 3mm of tread. It's not the best, that actually. Isn't the best. Looks really aggressive, doesn't it? You know, when you think about the standard 500, which is about as feminine as you can get, we've got another Grenlander here on about 3mm. Bear in mind this is a front-wheel drive car. I might stick a pair of decent tyres on the front, a couple of Pirellis to match the back. And on this side we've got another Pirelli, although that looks quite old actually. This might want a set of decent tyres, you know. They're not going to be dear, are they, on a tiny little, what are they even, 17-inch wheels. Here we go, blow my budget already. Got rear parking sensors. I really like this. I'm smitten with it and I've not even driven it yet. Let's have a look inside. Oh yes. Little sporty buckety seats. It's very dusty actually. It needs a good valet. In the back we've got not much leg room, but it's what you'd expect, isn't it really? And then the rest of it is pretty much typical Fiat 500 really. It says Abarth there, we've done 32,000 miles. Hang on. There we go. Oh yeah, listen to that. It's obviously had a new battery at some point because it says January 07. Although thinking about it actually, no, that's just me. That's me being stupid. It's January the 7th. Forget that. Forget that. Got a little turbo bar there. Sounds quite naughty. We've even got the latest sat-nav system as well. Bit of born in the USA. This is all very very trendy, isn't it? Tiny little glove compartment. Let's look at the history then. Got Abarth mats as well. Right, just seen a stamp at the back, but I think that was for a recall perhaps. Well, yeah, this isn't due anything. The first one was at... Is that the first one? Surely not. First service at 24,000 miles. Then another one at 27, then another one at 32. That doesn't make any sense. Why would it not have had another one at like 10,000 miles or 12 perhaps? It's weird, especially something as sporty as this. You thought they'd have had a bit of a running in service, wouldn't you? So we've got a... what's that then? That isn't anything, is it? That might just be the original PDI. Well, that's a bit weird. I mean, I haven't got to service it now because it's just had one recently, but why would it not have had an early one? Still, I think I will MOT it anyway, put a fresh ticket on it, 4 new tyres and a good clean. Let's check this roof out, shall we? I think I've rented one of these in Spain, not the Abarth, just the standard 500, and I think it goes back so far and then you've got to press it again, like so, and it folds down there. Now we're talking. Should we drive this then? I'm quite looking forward to this. And we're away then. I really like the idea of having a fun little car like this. Something like this, or an up exclamation mark GTI, or a Fiesta ST or something. I'm really warm into the idea. Having said that, let me see how bad the ride is, because I imagine with this little Abarth, the ride is pretty atrocious. Well, I think this is about, I'm sure they were 160 horsepower, maybe 150. So they're not the quickest things in the world, but because it's such a small, light car, it should still feel very, very nippy, very pocket rockety. Oh, there's a sport button as well. You ready? See if it makes any difference. Well, my dash has gone all aggressive looking. We've got a G-force meter, like you get in a Nissan Juke. Well, my steering's gone heavy actually. I'm very weighty. Sorry, there's a grey Toyota Yaris spoiling my fun in front. I really like this. The ride is a bit choppy, I'm not going to lie. It's a little bit firm, but I like how chunky everything is. The steering wheel's nice and chunky, the gear lever's nice and chunky, the handbrake lever's nice and chunky. And it just feels like it wants to go all the time, even though it's not the quickest when you actually accelerate. What should we do first then? I think mechanics first, tyres. Tyres, get them to check it over and clean MOT, then valet and buff. Try and get rid of those sap marks. People just jaywalking randomly. Now we've got a bit of a gap in the traffic. Let's see how quick this thing is, shall we? That's a little 1.4 litre turbo. But the answer is quite quick, really, when the turbo quick kicks in. I love cars like this. The other good thing with this is it's not quick enough that you're gonna kill yourself. Some performance cars nowadays, like the Golf R's and stuff, are just too quick. This is still fairly sensible. You can drive everywhere with your foot to the board and you don't want to come unstuck. Speaking of unstuck, I would feel a bit more confident with better tyres. Not these Grenlanders or whatever they're called that I've never heard of. What a cool little car this. Right, I'm going to head to my mechanics then now. Bit of wheel spin there. Yeah, it definitely wants tyres this. I'm going to head to my mechanics, 4 tyres and an MOT, and crack on with the work. I shall see you in a week's time. Give me a week. Should be a nice quick turnaround this, and hopefully some profit. Slow down, alright. Getting told off there by those solar panel signs. And welcome back to High Peak Autos, the home of sensible car reviews and sensible car buying decisions, where the owner, me, buys cars at a reasonable price, cars with profit in, doesn't massively overspend on them, and then sells them for profit. No, I don't think it'll catch on, do you? Doesn't have that ring to it. I don't know what happened to me over the Christmas period, but I've really got my sensible head on. And this is another example of me not massively overspending. Alright. Now, after we last spoke, I think we established that this is a pretty decent car. It didn't need an awful lot doing to it. A couple of the tyres were a bit iffy, the rear tyres were wearing a bit thin and the fronts were no brand, and it needed an MOT. But that was about it. I wasn't sure though whether or not my mechanic would unearth some issues. Anyway, I ran it down there, they got it up on the ramp, and it turns out, apart from the tyres, it was pretty mint. So I thought, I know what I'll do. I've got enough margin in this car to stand me putting 4 brand new Pirelli tyres on it. So that's what I did. These are the correct brand of tyres for the car. So I did that, I MOT'd it, and it's passed with not a single advisory item. And like I say, my mechanic said it was mint. I didn't bother doing a service because it was done about 300 miles ago, and I thought that's just a waste of money. See what I mean about me being sensible? We're in uncharted waters here, ladies and gents, and I'll be honest, it does take some getting used to. Rather than give it a service, what they did instead was just check the levels, make sure everything was all right, which it was. From there then, I mean, I've still got quite a hefty bill because 4 Pirellis aren't cheap. From there, I picked it up and took it to the lads at Tameside Detailing, who did a full valet on it for me. And it wasn't dirty anyway, to be honest, as you'll remember, but it's come up looking like new. I really can't believe this is a 5-year-old car now, because it still looks and drives like a new car. They did a good job of getting all the moss off the roof. If you remember, it was a bit green. I think one blast with the jet wash and it all went away. I got it back to work about an hour ago. I didn't bother changing the reg plates because they're in decent condition. This really isn't me, is it? And then what did I do? Oh, I took some photographs of it. So I thought when I bought this that it'd be worth about £10,000. I thought it was a 9995 car. But when I did some research on Auto Trader, I think it's worth a bit more than that. Some of them are going for about 11. So I thought, let's not be too greedy. I'll put it on at 10495. And that's what I've done. It says great price. So now we've just got to sit back and wait for the phone to ring. It shouldn't take long now really, because the frost has thawed and it's a balmy 4 degrees. I got this roof back. What I'm going to do next then, guys, is pull over and I'll talk you through my costs. Shouldn't take long, this. Really shouldn't. There we go. I think on second thoughts, we'll close this. I really like this little thing. Okay, so let me get my calculator out. I paid £7,800 for the car. Don't want maps, I want calculator. 7,800 plus £70 on a valet. What else? I know that's from Audi. That's for an Audi A8. Just picked it up from Audi Macclesfield, having had a service. So, MOT test fee, £40. 4 Pirelli tyres, £344. Front wiper blades, I'd forgotten about this. Front wiper blades, they were smearing a little bit, they'd gone hard, so I replaced those. So my total bill there was £485, 76 pence. Which means my total on this little Abarth 595 Cabriolet is £8,355, 76 pence. So if I can get 10495 for it, that gives me a profit of just over £2,000, which is a great success, as Borat would say. Well, I think that's about it, ladies and gents. I'm not really used to this. I do really fancy buying one of these, I just don't know when I'd use it. It's kind of one of those cars that I would use if I thought, right, I've got to go into the city, or I've got to go into the village and try and park outside the post office or the Trafford Centre, or... But it's a bit of a luxury, that, isn't it? Well, thank you once again for watching. Make sure you give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't done already. You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Let's not forget TikTok. I'll leave the link below. And yeah, cheers guys. See you next time. Where maybe I'll overspend. I'm not sure. I've got a few in the pipeline. Don't think... Oh. Yeah. There is one that I've overspent on. The rest are on budget. Anyway, you'll have to wait and see. Cheers guys. See you next time.